Okay, going from Roger Stone to another indictee and actually someone convicted in association with their association with Donald Trump, that is. 2 weeks ago, we heard from former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen, who is, of course, heading to prison for 3 years at the beginning of March. We heard he wants to testify and he is voluntarily going to testify before the House Oversight Committee. Okay, great news. Looking forward to it. Definitely someone I would want to hear from before he goes to prison. If anybody has the goods on Trump, it's Michael Cohen. Last week, we learned, okay, now Cohen is no longer going to voluntarily testify because of threats made by Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani against members of Cohen's family. So unfortunately, it doesn't seem as though we're going to hear from Cohen before he goes to prison, except that now the Senate Intelligence Committee has subpoenaed Michael Cohen for a mid-February appearance, which will likely get him in front of elected officials before he goes to prison. But there are so many caveats here that we have to talk about. Number one, it will almost definitely be behind closed doors. So who knows if and when we will find out exactly what Michael Cohen says. But this also is not the only subpoena that Cohen is likely to receive. We heard from House Oversight Committee Chairman Elijah Cummings, House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff, both are expecting testimony in their committees from Michael Cohen. They may also subpoena him to appear before he has to report to prison on, I think it's March 6th of this year. So more than likely, at least the Senate testimony, we wouldn't know the details of right away, but the details would probably make their way back to Trump, meaning that if Cohen spills goods, we would hear it indirectly via Donald Trump losing it on Twitter. One idea that's being floated is that the Senate is controlled by Republicans. Republicans want to have more of an opportunity to control the narrative around Michael Cohen, so they want to get him in front of their committee first and sort of get a head start, period. And the evidence to support that would be, okay, well, Richard Burr is a Republican. He's the guy who runs the Senate committee. And he's saying, let's do this, obviously, with Democratic support. Burr has been A-OK with easing sanctions on Russian oligarch Oleg Deripaska, who's all wrapped up in this scandal. So it's possible that he and some other Republicans have decided, Pat, that they want to get control of Cohen's testimony sooner than later. But the truth is, as we talked about last week, Cohen is very unlikely to actually spill new information about Russia-related stuff because that does relate to ongoing investigations. My prediction, Pat, and you tell me if you agree or disagree, is that most of the testimony, whether it's behind closed doors or not, is going to be about mistress payments and sort of tangentially related to stuff that we already have some sense of.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to learn that much. Even when these testimonies are held in public, we tend not to hear too many revelations, like when James Comey testified before Congress or Andrew McCabe or Rod Rosenstein. I think this will be more of the same. What I want to hear about more, though, is how Trump and Giuliani threatened Michael Cohen, because that could be witness tampering.
Yeah, and so that actually is a story that by not developing over the weekend, it sort of has made it more likely that when Michael Cohen cited threats from Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani, he was referring to two public statements, that it doesn't actually appear as though private threats have been made. Trump said that it's Michael Cohen's father-in-law that should be looked into. And then subsequently, when Rudy Giuliani was asked whether it's appropriate or not for a sitting president to do that, Giuliani sort of played coy and said, well, if the guy has participated in criminal activity, then of course it's appropriate for the president to suggest that. And there's every indication right now that when Michael Cohen cited threats from Trump and Giuliani, that's what he was referring to. And I know that much like you, Pat, I was thinking, okay, well, is this a reference to that? Or is it a reference to some private threats that were made? At least now, no particular reason to think that private threats were made. But a number of legal experts say that just those public statements from Trump and Giuliani would, in normal circumstances, count as witness tampering. Of course, when it's the president doing it and the president is already under investigation for a whole litany of other possible wrongdoing, unlikely that that particular instance of witness tampering, as insane as it is for me to say this, is going to rise to the level of being one of the primary targets of investigation against Donald Trump. Send me your thoughts about this. I'm on Instagram at david.pakman. The show is on Instagram at David Pakman Show, very slowly building up the show's Instagram account, now over 5,000 followers. I predict 10,000 not too long from now. We will take a break, and after this break, we're going to have something interesting. I'm going to be speaking to Benjamin Studebaker, who wrote an article about the decline and fall of Elizabeth Warren as he sees it. And we are going to try to hash out what are Elizabeth Warren's liabilities and what are her assets in the context of the 2020 Democratic primary. My prediction is Benjamin and I are not going to be completely on the same page on this one. That's coming up right after this quick break. I'm thrilled to tell you that today's program is sponsored in part by Untuckit. I also have breaking news for other gentlemen who, if they are anything like I used to be, or maybe still are, that long, bulky dress shirt doesn't look good untucked, okay? I used to think it looked casual. It actually looked really, really sloppy because those shirts were never meant to be worn that way. And what Untuckit does is make shirts that are specifically designed to be worn untucked. They're not too long. They're not too short. It's the clean, casual look that you can even wear at the office, depending on where you work. With more than 50 fit combinations, Untuckit shirts look good on tall, short, slim, athletic types of all ages. I've had a couple of great Untuckit shirts, which I wear untucked as designed, and they look great. Go to untuckit.com or visit one of Untuckit's 50 stores across the United States and Canada. They even are offering free shipping and returns on all orders in the United States. And most importantly, this is like the most important thing about all of this. Use the promo code Pakman to get 20% off your first purchase. If you want the perfect fitting shirt, regardless of your shape and size, try the original untucked shirt. And remember, use the promo code Pakman, Pakman, for 20% off your first purchase at untuckit.com.